Let's talk about LightBeam Entity Resolution. What problem does LightBeam Entity Resolution solve for you? For the last 20 years, if you've been using any data scanning tool, what they mostly solve is they will look into different applications that you might have, and then they'll tell you what kind of sensitive data you have within the application. So for example, a data scanning tool that's scanning your SQL Server might tell you that there's a credit card and there's an account ID in that SQL Server database. Similarly, if you have another tool that is scanning your SharePoint, that's a HIPAA, the tool might report that you have an address and a medical record number within SharePoint, which is useful. It actually tells you what information you have. But where the data privacy and data security landscape has evolved to now is you need to understand not only just the what data you have, but also whose data you have. What does whose mean? If you are a healthcare organization, you probably care about your patient's data and patient's privacy a lot more than anything else, because if your patient's data gets exposed, if you are dealing in student data, you probably care about student data. So all of those, that's the who in our system, and that who is what we call as entity. So an entity could be a student, it could be an employee, it could be an ex-employee, it could be patients if you're a healthcare organization, it could be a customer or bank account holder if you're a financial institution, and so on and so forth. Now what LightBeam does is as it scans different data repositories like SharePoint, Snowflake, SQL Server, and ServiceNow, it will report to you if there is any sensitive data. Case in point, here in Snowflake, it is reporting that there is a social security number and address that it has detected. In ServiceNow, it is reporting that there's a medical record number and credit card that it has detected. But using entity resolution, what LightBeam is able to do is it's able to actually link these data elements that are detected across different applications, by the way. So they seem very disparate. But using our AI, we are able to figure out that actually all of these disparate data elements that we have detected across different applications, they actually belong to the same person, same student, same patient, same bank account holder. And so what LightBeam does is it actually creates an entity within the system. Let's say John Doe. What it actually shows you that John Doe has their SSN and address within Snowflake. John Doe's address and medical record number is actually detected in SharePoint. Similarly, credit card and account number of John Doe belongs in SQL Server. And within your ServiceNow tickets, you've got medical record number and credit card of John Doe. Why is that helpful? The simple case is if John Doe ever comes to you and asks you, what data do you have about me? Maybe they're exercising their data subject request for access or deletion. You don't have to go and look into different applications to figure out what data you have about John Doe. In fact, if you look into something like SQL Server, you might not even have a name over here for John Doe. What LightBeam does is it actually scans these data repositories and perhaps more that it's connected to, and it figures out that all of these data elements belong to John Doe, thereby kind of making your data subject request, addressing that really trivial. Within a couple of minutes, you can actually address that. Similarly, if you have, let's say someone reports that you've detected a credit card number in ServiceNow, and you're wondering whose credit card number was discovered, using LightBeam, you can actually figure out that that credit card number belonged to John Doe, who happens to be a customer of yours, for example. So that's how LightBeam Entity Resolution brings the who at the center, the identity at the center of all data elements that you're detecting.